Historically, black people have done this thing of suffering in silence.
It just kind of came together, and that's how I ended up in mental health. I never felt like I was meant to help people until it was shown to me that that was actually what I was meant to do, but I had to find a way to do it.
They were making exceptions for us being in the hospital because they knew that she was going to die and there was nothing anyone could do about it. She had the kind of brain cancer that John McCain died from.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, there's no treatment or anything like that. It's quick. If you don't know how to lose, you cannot be successful.
Nah, that's the truth.
And so that's what, it's just a lesson because we don't always win.
You said something then.
I'm like, but we lost 6-1. He goes, but did you lose? And I said, damn.
Right.
Trying to support my family, my niece and nephew, my dad in particular, my big sister, and take care of myself. I didn't know how.
All right, so welcome to Resilient Mind. It's a podcast about just overcoming adversity, advancing despite adversity. Our mission is to guide you through personal growth, family connection, and building stronger communities. So today, we will explore resilience and loss and the power of self-compassion, offering mental health insights, practical tools, and inspiration to face life challenges. Dr. Alex, I was going to call you Dr. William, but Dr. Alex, how you doing, brother?
I can't complain, man. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm good. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I definitely, I want to dive into just the mindset. But I guess the first question I want to ask you, just generally, what got you into mental health?
The shortest version of that answer is that when I decided that, when it was very clear that I was not going to be a professional soccer player, I had to do something that felt like it was still going to have an impact on people's lives. What I mean by that is, in college, I had the luxury of playing in front of thousands of people week in and week out. Mm-hmm. And it was like a crazy rush to realize that the results impacted how people felt. And it was just me doing something that I loved. I also love supporting folks. And so when my career ended, I decided to go to graduate school and see what the major I had gotten could turn into, because I majored in psychology in undergrad. And from there, it was just, I guess, my passion for working hard and for delivering something that is tangible that people can take with them, combined with what I feel like is a God-given talent to walk with people in their struggles. It just kind of came together, and that's how I ended up in mental health. I never felt like I was meant to help people until it was shown to me that that was actually what I was meant to do, but I had to find a way to do it.
That's crazy. I had a similar experience, man. Just as a football player, so I played the other football, right?
Hey, I respect all the sports.
Yeah, but I just like everybody, man, we wanted to make it to the league. That's the first thing that we think. We don't really think about anything else because we were taught, you got to be one-track minded. Just go for your goal. Don't have a plan B because, some people say have a plan B. Some people say don't have a plan B. But the reality of it is we do got to have plan Bs because everything don't work out how we wanted to work out.
Yeah,
man. So even on my journey, man, I grew up a bit rough, right? And counseling, I never thought about that. I never seen a counselor. I never seen a lot of professionals growing up. It was, I'm from Miami, Florida, so it was more, people got it how they live. Read between lines, right? So, my goal was to make it to the league, but I realized after so many injuries that, that's gonna get cut short, but I still had that, that goal. And I was on a trajectory, right? But it just didn't happen. But I realized when I realized it wasn't gonna happen, it was like, okay, what's the next thing? Like, what am I good at?
What do I love?
What do I love? You know what I'm saying? And like you said, because I played running back, right? So, we got the ball. We used to the oohs, the ahs.
The play.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay, I do make people feel a certain way just by being me on the football field. And off the football field, I do make people feel a certain way just by being me.
Agree.
Right? But the compassion for me has always been there just because of my rough upbringing. So when I see somebody else struggling and may not be as, tough, for lack of a better term, as I am to be able to endure those things, I always try to help talk them through it, guide them through it, coach them through it. If they're being bullied, help them out in that regard.
I was about to say, that's the thing. It's like, don't let me catch you doing something to somebody who's got less than you.
Yeah.
Because that, I come from the opposite side of things.
Yeah.
So like my parents are the rich ones in our family.
Yeah.
Very firmly middle class.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people try to play down being like rich or something like that.
Yeah.
I know I wasn't rich because when I asked my parents for $300 extra a month, they told me they couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But I also never wanted for anything.
Right.
Right. And so one of the things that I appreciate is that their compassion is what allowed me to have that resilience. And it's just interesting how different backgrounds still end up coming to, do you lead with compassion or don't you?
Yeah.
In these moments, because that's what resiliency comes from.
You know, it's funny, man, because it's crazy that you just said that, because I sometimes think to myself, even with raising my kids, right? You say you got a 3-year-old. I got 11-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old daughter, right? And I just told you I came up a bit rough, right? We didn't have much money wise. We wasn't no middle class, nothing, right? It was we survived, right?
Yeah.
We survived, but now I'm raising my kids, and I'm realizing that they'll never go through what I went through. Number one, because I'm not gonna let them walk through that fire. But number two, my world ain't set up like that at this point, right? I'm older, you know, I'm more mature, I'm more professional. And I'm heading in the right direction. But as far as experiencing like the poverty side of you know the journey, they'll never see that. But we don't hide it from them either.
Yep.
We expose them to those things. I tell them my journey so that they can fully understand that. But I sometimes question myself, like, am I doing them any
A disservice.
right? You know, and I wonder how you feel about that. Like, what do you think about that, man? Because it's definitely a question that always, you know, dance around in my head, man.
Since I became a dad, it's something that runs through my mind all the time. So another reason why I've ended up, this sounds conceited to say, but as resilient as I am, is I was born 8 weeks early, whole bunch of medical problems all throughout adolescence, childhood, adolescence, even into adulthood and all that kind of stuff. And so I don't believe in, no one can set limits for me but me.
Yeah.
Because when your first memory is like dragging yourself on the floor to get a nebulizer so you don't die because your parents aren't there.
Oh, man.
Yeah. You learn to like appreciate life and roll with the punches and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how to teach my son that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to. He's healthy. He's happy.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be able to get him to appreciate life the way I appreciate life. So I guess it's more along the lines of not doing them a disservice, but there are certain experiences that they just can't have. Most of them are ones I just don't want them to have, like you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
But some are just because we did a good job.
For sure. And I plan on continuing to do a good job.
And so they will learn their adversity in some other way.
Yeah, for sure.
And we just be thankful that it's not the things that we carry with us.
Yeah, I don't spoon feed them at all. They work for every single thing that they get. They have to earn it. I don't care what it is. It could be a cup of juice.
We're doing potty training right now, and like the man wants a toy when he don't go to the potty. And I'm like, this is the foundation of, no, you got to do the work.
Straight up.
Learn the skills.
Absolutely.
And then you get the reward.
Absolutely. Okay, so all right, so we understand we're on the right path. We know what we need to do. All right, so as far as your passion for working with young people, let's talk about that. So you specialize in working with adolescents and young adults from 13 to ages 25. You help them navigate life's complexities, building a sense of self, and fostering resilience. Let's talk about that.
I would say the first part of why do I love it. So growing up playing soccer, the quickest and easiest way to get a job was to start coaching.
Yeah.
Coached all the way through, part of the way in high school, all the way through college, and a little bit into my master's degree. And one, the pay was really good. But two, I realized that there was something that I needed, and it was like being able to connect with these kids at a time where when I was their age, I didn't have that connection.
Yeah.
And then I found myself being the only black coach, the only black student in my doctoral program and all that kind of stuff. And so I started gravitating to places where I found more kids that look like me. And oddly enough, in Colorado, because that's where I got my doctorate, a lot of black kids play soccer there.
Yeah.
And so that's where I found them.
Yeah.
And so it turns out that it just melded my two passions together. And then as I realized I was getting older, that's where I shifted to college students, because I felt like age-wise, while I could still do really good work with adolescents, I actually really wanted to help individuals find themselves between the ages of 18 and 24, because those were the most, I'm going to say pivotal, Not bad, but pivotal times in my life where I went through a whole bunch of changes. And if I'd had a single black male therapist that could look me in the face and be like, so I've been through this.
Yeah.
You want to know the fun part?
Yeah.
You end up somewhere in this space.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I had a bunch of white people looking at me like I was crazy.
Yeah.
And so that's really, that's the passion. It's like growing up around teams, being coached, recognizing that the one thing you need to learn from sports is simple. And I teach this in my therapy. Sports teaches us how to lose.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to lose, you cannot be successful.
Nah, that's the truth.
And so that's what brought me in. It's like I wanted to help people learn how to lose, because if you learn how to lose in therapy, 99% of the time your therapist should walk you into a way that you take that loss and turn it into something that's effective.
That's it. Reframe it. Take that loss, that loss is a lesson, turn it into a win.
Yeah, 100%. And sometimes it doesn't turn into a win. It's just a lesson, because we don't always win.
You said something there. You said something there, man. Let's talk about that real quick. I want to know why you said that. What made you say that? Because it's a cliche statement, right? Take turn the loss into a win.
All that stuff, yeah.
But we don't always win, right? But we still will always have that lesson, which essentially is the W, right? But we got to recognize that W.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
People are so focused on what they will get from achieving the thing, whatever that thing is. And they don't spend a lot of time appreciating that most of what they gain in the process of achievement occurs in the process of achievement.
Yep.
So the reason why I say that is I'll never forget it. I was playing in a regional championship game my senior year of high school, and we were playing against the number 2 team in the country. I had been asked to join that team. My dad said no because he didn't want me traveling 2.5 hours, 4 days a week for practice, which is reasonable in DC, right? So we're playing them. I know a bunch of the kids on the other team, blah, blah, blah. I've never been so comprehensively beat, 6-1. And the one goal we scored, I'm pretty sure was an accident. I think we just had somebody who was fast and ran onto a clearance, and that was it. And we were the 51st best team in the country.
Yeah.
We were still very good. And I'll never forget, I walked off the field, and I was furious, but I couldn't figure out why I was mad, because I wasn't mad about the score. I was like, they were better than us. I knew that. And everyone just keeps telling me I played a really good game. And so I went to talk to my dad, and my dad's like, what are you pissed about? And I'm like, because I think I just played the best game of my life.
Right.
I really do. I feel like we would have lost 12-0 if I hadn't just played the game. He goes, you did. Look at all the coaches. And this was still during recruiting season and stuff. I'm like, but we lost 6-1. He goes, but did you lose? And I said, damn.
Right.
Nah, because now I'm getting knocks on the door and letters in the mail saying you want to come play for our college.
Right.
So in that moment, I realized, I just need to do the best that I'm going to do.
That's it.
I'm not going to win a national championship with my club team.
Yeah.
Most people don't.
Right.
I'm not going to win a state championship, unfortunately. We lost to a team that was amazing. And the guy that scored against us is one of my friends, and he had a 15-year-long career playing MLS. It's filthy.
Wow.
I was never that good.
Wow.
But I learned that winning meant taking what you get from those moments, even if you lose.
Yeah. No, that's a great statement. So I definitely can attest to a lot of what you just said. I have my own personal experiences, especially from these transitions in sports. Going from high school to college, it was a huge transition for me, right? As a young person, I was a troubled young man, to say the least, right? And so I ended up being on my own at the age of 13, right? Moved to another city. Place, huh?
I said on your own?
On my own.
That takes a lot of strength.
No, absolutely. But it was a situation where when I leaving, my sister and her boyfriend was together, and I was sent to them. But then months later, they got into it. Sister went back to Miami.
Okay.
Right. Months later, the feds came and picked up a boyfriend. So then I was stuck, in this place, surviving at that point. So you're talking about And I went down by age 13. This happened around 14, 15. So it was really like survival at that point. So trying to understand like just to navigate the world at that point as a young person, because I know if I go back, it'll be.
You know what it'll be.
It's definitely gonna be different, right? The trajectory of my life wouldn't be what it is today. So I understood that as a young person. So I stayed and just made the best out of it, and I ended up making the best out of it, right? Because I'm here today. So it's like at that time, football was my everything. But bro, I got hurt. I played varsity. I played freshman, not even JV. Then I played varsity my 10th grade year. Then my 11th grade year, I got hurt. My 12th grade year, I got hurt. I tore my ACL my 11th grade year, out for the season. I broke my ankle my senior year, out for the season.
Damn.
But I was still blessed to get a full football scholarship. Yeah.
Oh, so you were good.
And that was the blessing in it. So there's always a silver lining in something, right? So
It was to take you to college.
man, and I made the best of it. Now I did start getting in trouble when I got there.
But you got there.
But I got there. But guess what? It was the community and the people and my friends, man, my teammates, my professors, the secretaries in the coaching office, some of the coaches and the head, everybody, man, like really
Poured into.
Oh man, they poured in me good, man. And despite getting into all that trouble, friends still looked at me in a positive light. Certain people still looked at me in a positive light, but they understood that I was a broken kid. Some way, somehow, we got to learn how to fix this, boy.
Yeah.
And they did, man. And it helped me get to the next stages of my life. Ended up excelling on the football field, graduated, graduated with my degree. Ended up going back to grad school and getting my master's degree and figuring out what my passion and my purpose is. And this is what it is, helping people, right? And I would have never known that had I stayed into that dark space, such a messed up space, and I couldn't see clear, right? You look at the negative situations and the circumstances, and we think that, okay, our life is over, or it's supposed to end up like what we just saw.
Or it can't change.
Or it cannot change.
Which is wild, because anything can change.
Anything can change, man. So that was, so just that transition, man. It's big, man. But speaking of transition, I do want to kind of pivot real quick and just talk about, loss and personal adversity. Because, and part of the reason that I even wanted to tell you about that transition is because of some of the stuff I'm about to talk to you about, next. And me understanding that, me having to transition from, Miami to moving to Gainesville, Florida to better my life because, I reached a certain point and my mom reached a certain point that she couldn't handle me anymore. Mm-hmm. I couldn't stand it anymore. And I need to do something different. And it was the best decision ever made in my world, but at that time I feel like it was the worst, right? And after all the successes that I seen after that, after all the progress that I seen after that, the degrees, the businesses, and everything like that, I just got to the point where all the success, and while I was doing it, it was about to come to light. Oh man, my mom was she was such a proud person, man, and just, watching me and on my trajectory, and I was just so happy to just show her all the successes, all the things that I've accomplished despite everything that I've been through. And she would just smile all the time, man. And in 2010, man, she got in a car accident. Yeah, I'm sorry. And she's no longer here, man. And that definitely broke me. It
makes sense.
Yeah, it broke me, man. It broke me to no end. And you realize how much living you have to do. And then when somebody that close to you, transition, it put a different type of fire in you that people would never understand, right? It put a different type of passion in you that people would never understand. They don't understand the why behind a lot of what I do, but I don't expect people to. But at this point, I do understand that she's my angel, and she's assisting with guiding me through all the hardships. She along with the big man upstairs is the reason that a lot of things are actually happening in the way that they're supposed to happen, because now I'm finally ready, So that was very long-winded.
No, but I appreciate you sharing that.
Nah,
Because
definitely.
I can relate. So.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm transitioning into now, man, because I want to just really just get into your mental and your mindset. And anytime we're definitely going to take a break after this because it's going to get heavy, but I definitely want to get into your mindset and the journey for this extreme pitfall, because this is, losing a mother is the worst thing that can possibly happen outside of losing a child. So you lost your mother to cancer in 2020, right? Which tested your resilience. As you managed to, get through your personal grief alongside your professional obligations. I'm all too familiar with that, but I do want to kind of hear
how it went.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start with my mom and I were best friends.
Yeah.
In like the obnoxious way that my dad had to explain to her and I right before I got married, like, you have to stop telling your mom everything. And I was like, what, why? And his response was, trust me, I've been married to her for 37 years. Let me explain to you why you need to do this. And I was like, I gave me the whole explanation. And I looked at my mom and was like, this guy. 2 years later, I was like, oh, Dad, you were right. But so I said this, that like I used to go on lunch dates with my mom when I had free time and stuff like that, which was often until I moved to Colorado. And so when she was diagnosed with cancer, the day of her diagnosis was actually the day that she retired after being the head of technology support and the head technology support specialist in Fairfax County for like I think 20 schools. And so she had done that for 22 years, was retiring that day. I was finishing my doctoral residency. We call it internship, but most people understand residency better.
Right.
And I literally on that day, I was going to get my certificate. But my mom had gone to the hospital about 7 days before. We didn't know why. We thought she had a stroke. Didn't have a stroke. A huge brain tumor that was like this big on the back of her brain. They gave her 2 weeks to 6 months to live. She lived for another 11 weeks after that. And so watching it was during COVID, so that was the wildest part, because they were making exceptions for us being in the hospital because they knew that she was going to die and there was nothing that anyone could do about it. She had the kind of brain cancer that John McCain died from.
Okay.
Yeah. Like there's no treatment or anything like that. It's quick. So she actually was still conscious and verbal, but her, I think, left side was paralyzed. When my program decided to do my virtual graduation ceremony for me specifically on Zoom, and we did it in her hospital room. So I'm telling you all these pieces because I think I want to lay out what the stuff was that came before she passed, because I think a lot of times we only talk to people about the resiliency of dealing with the loss. But in my experience personally, the hardest part to deal with was watching this lady who always looked the same to me shrivel up and die without her ability to speak or anything like that, because over those 11 weeks, she stopped being able to eat, feed herself, go to the bathroom, all that kind of stuff. And then I had to go back to work in Colorado. So on my birthday of that year, I flew back to Colorado because I had to go to work. So I left my mom. And I didn't see her again alive until the night she died, which I landed at about 10 o'clock that night. I know she waited for me because her demeanor changed when I showed up, and 6 hours later she was dead. So dealing with that, I was very, very fortunate because my supervisor at the time had lost their mom to the same exact disease almost 11 years to the day earlier. So when I told him what had happened, he was like, do what you need. And I said, you're not going to tell me to not work or whatever? He goes, I don't know if you need to work, but if you need to work, work. And if you can't, stop. I said, I'm going to work because my dad is crying at a level that I can't take care of him. My sister is drunk. No shade to her. She just needed to have a drink. Her daughter is crying on her lap, and so she's overwhelmed with like the first grandchild being upset that their grandmother died. And so I handled it first and foremost by just going to work. The reason being is I didn't know how to help myself. I didn't know how to help my family, but I did know how to help my clients. And so at the very least, rather than just sitting there weeping, which I did a lot of, don't get me wrong, I cried all the time, and I still cry all the time when I feel like it.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't just sit there and cry. So I went to work. I lasted about 3 days until my bosses told me I had to stop going to work because they're like, we're afraid that you'll never grieve. I say all that to say, it was hard. I think the way that I was able, I guess I've kind of already said it, the way that I was able to navigate it effectively was to turn this professional passion, because I made a promise to myself when I was a kid that I wouldn't do anything I didn't love. And I love being a psychologist. So my mom passing didn't impact my love for being a therapist and being a psychologist. It impacted everything else. And so I threw myself into the thing that wasn't impacted and allowed that to be where healing radiated from, because people knew that I was hurt and provided support when they could. And then I went to therapy.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, I talked to a therapist.
Yeah.
He told me the greatest thing. The one thing therapy can't fix is grief. What it can do is help you understand why you grieve.
So I think the number one thing that I recognized was that I didn't have the capacity right when my mom died to deal with trying to support my family, my niece and nephew, my dad in particular, my big sister, and take care of myself. I didn't know how. So what I did was, and I was very fortunate because I had my supervisor at the time, his mom had died like 11 years to the day before mine did. And so he, from the exact same brain disease, which is crazy, because only 100,000 people a year die from it. So like, that's a wild like coincidence, right? And he just told me to do what I needed to do for me. I asked him why he didn't tell me to take the day off. He said, because I don't know if that's what you need. And I was like, that's wild, but I appreciate that. So I went to work because I knew how to help other people. And I only do things that I love. And the only thing that I love that was unimpacted by my mom's death was being a psychologist. Because it's like the last accomplishment that she saw. She didn't get to meet my son or anything like that. But she saw me get married, and she saw me graduate and become a doctor, the first doctor in my whole family. And so that's the thing that didn't get messed up. At least in principle. I kind of use work in an unhealthy way, but that's neither here nor there. But I went to work, and I helped people because I knew how to help my clients. That lasted for 3-4 days before my bosses were like, you need to actually figure out how to grieve. That was really challenging. I went to therapy. My therapist was great, and he told me the one thing that I took with me and that I've also shared with clients, which is that the one thing a therapist can't fix is grief. Because grief is love, and why would we take that away from you? That's how my therapist phrased it to me. I was like, oh, damn, I've been taking people's love, huh? So like that hit different. And then as I sat with it more, as I worked the process, and it took me probably 1.5 years, because she died during COVID, early COVID, so October 2020. We didn't get to bury her for 17 months because she's a former Army officer. She's buried at Arlington National Cemetery, but we had to wait. So I didn't actually get to start grieving, like put her in the ground and say goodbye until about 18 months after she actually passed away. So I say all that to say I worked the process, but the process was long. And what I learned was, and this is something I share with my clients all the time whenever they're dealing with grief, is that grief and love are the same thing, or I guess just love is grief, or grief is love. And what I mean by that is that love is a thread that connects all of us, especially like parent to child. I think mother to son is like an even crazy deeper experience. And when I could call my mom, when I could go see her, I could fly, drive, whatever it is, we could just catch up however we wanted to, text, all that stuff. I could hear her voice not on a recording. I noticed just love. And when I moved to Colorado, I felt that, we call it homesickness. Oh, that's what it was. It was the love stretching, and I could feel it, and that's what that homesickness was. When she died, it was like that thread just got stretched infinitely far. I don't know how far heaven is. I know my mom is there. I'm without question. When she died, I told her to say hi to my grandparents, the ones that had passed away at the time. Now they have all but one passed, and I felt it, and I still feel it to this day. It still hurts, but that's what grief is. Grief is your awareness of that thread of love stretching from you to whatever your hereafter is. For me, it's heaven, right? And so, like I said, I don't know how far it is away, but the message of love takes longer because it's so stretched. And so when I do feel that intense feeling of grief, I know that's actually either me sending something or me receiving something to my mom and to my other loved ones that I've lost. And that's kind of the thing that allows me to go to work every day, because my mom got to see me be a doctor, become a doctor.
Yeah.
I love what I do,
That's a blessing.
so I feel her in what I do.
Nah, I feel that, man. All right, we'll be right back with Dr. Alex Proctor. A lot of what you said, man, because some of the experiences was even, near and dear to my heart. Just me even when you mentioned you sat and watched her, a certain way, and I had the experience. Even when she got in that car accident, she got in the car accident June 26th and died on June 28th. So.
It's quick, but it's long.
But I had to sit there. I was in the room when she transitioned. I had to watch her. I saw it. You know what I mean? So it's definitely, challenging. So, but I appreciate you sharing that, brother.
Of course. People need to hear it, because it's one of the realest things about life that we don't talk about.
Yeah, at all, man. And especially losing a mother. That's one of the most painful things we'll ever go through. And some of the most painful things that we are going through, but nobody's saying it.
Yep.
Like, nobody's talking about it. You wonder why this person moody, or this person always upset, this person always frustrated. It's because they're grieving. It's because they lost somebody. But they don't want to burden everybody by saying, this is what I'm feeling right now.
Exactly.
This is what I'm going through right now.
And it's not a burden. Because if people just told you how they were feeling, it would allow you to react in a way that either was best for them, or wasn't harmful to them, because not everybody has to support you.
Right.
But like, you cannot hurt me, right?
Yeah, for sure.
As well.
For sure. So you said that it's still hard to articulate the process of healing, and that you had to learn to portion your energy to make space for yourself. Talk to me about that.
So I'm a natural helper, and I don't mean that in the cliche way. I think, like if you and I were in the kitchen cooking, right, like making a meal for a whole bunch of people, I would do what I was supposed to do, and then I would be like, I'm done. Can I help?
Yeah.
It's like a compulsion,
Right.
right? Hold on, let me back up really quickly. Ask me this question one more time, because I feel like the tangent I was about to go on doesn't apply.
It's all good.
As I said, I was like, wait a minute. No, that's not.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But I was expressing, especially talking about, it's hard to just tell people what you're going through. You don't want to burden people, but you also mentioned how hard it is to articulate the process of healing, and that you had to learn to portion your own energy to make space for yourself.
So that's where I was going. I'm a people pleaser.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to stop people pleasing.
Yes.
At the end of the day, my compulsion to help is because I actually really like making other people happy. Or no, not making them happy, because that's not my job, nor is it something I think I'm capable of, contributing to other people's happiness.
Yes.
That includes my wife. It's her job to be happy. It's my job to contribute in whatever way I can.
Yep.
And as a people pleaser, who's actually good at like accomplishing the things that people need you to accomplish. People get used to you being there for them. You get used to being there for them. Your identity gets tied to that. But what happens when you don't have it to give? Your friendships struggle, your romantic relationships struggle. The only relationship that did not struggle after my mom died was the one with my dad. Because he and I were already super close. He's my hero. And he just found that out, which was wild to me, because I told him like 25 years ago. But that's neither here nor there either. But like, I couldn't be for everybody else what I previously had been, which was you called me at 11:45 at night and I got the greatest gym for you ever. It's like therapy 101, but I just packaged it really cute and nice and all that shit. And like people are like, yeah, you made me feel great. Thanks you for listening to me. People tell me how disarming I am and all that stuff. I'm like, I just listen without judging. It's not disarming. You got to ask for that from other people. I couldn't be that. And so eventually I just had to stop giving energy away, trying to be everything for everybody when I hadn't figured out how to be what I needed for myself, which was a more healed version of me. So I started stealing back time and energy. And I call it stealing back because at the time I believed that I was taking it from other people.
Yeah.
I now have learned that in fact what I was doing was just portioning out what was already mine. And so how it looks now is, for example, my boss really wants me to always take my mother's death day off because she doesn't believe that anyone is really going to feel good enough to do good therapy when they're mourning the loss of their parent.
For sure.
My story is I went to work because that was where the connection, that sense of like, I feel the love of my mom in the work that I'm doing, right? She was this crazy, compassionate, intuitive person. And I feel like her gift transferred to me as a therapist.
Yeah.
I want to go give that to people. Like, what's a better thing to do to celebrate my mom's life than to, on the day that she died, serve other people? Next year, I'm taking my mom's birthday off.
Congratulations. Good for you.
I did this year, too, because my boss made me. And what I realized on that day is that I found other ways to serve people, but it didn't require me to be sitting in my office.
No, it's a holiday for you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, if you go celebrate a holiday, your birthday, your mama's death day, that's the one.
Because, like, that day, it doesn't scare me anymore.
Yeah.
But it did for a while. And so I think that is what I mean by proportioning my energy, is that even now to this day, when I go to work, everyone is going to feel like you got 100% of me.
Yeah.
But I already know I brought 65% of my daily energy, like allotment, to this office. You can have all 65% of it. The kids can have it. My colleagues can have it. I don't care. 25 of that is for my wife and my son.
Gotcha.
10 of it is for me. And at the end of every day, I do something for me. Whether it's just pouring this like perfect glass of whiskey and then like and sitting and looking outside on the balcony like of my apartment.
It's
cool.
for you.
Yeah, if it's watching a game, cool.
Yep.
If it's just talking to my wife, reading, whatever it is. But that is my time to reset, 'cause if I don't have it, people can't get what I actually would like to give them, which is a proportion of me is the best version of me. Because it's the healthy me.
Nah, for sure. Nah, good stuff, bro. So, finding self-compassion. How did learning self-compassion help you balance personal grief and professional responsibilities?
It was my clients.
Yeah.
And my colleagues.
Yeah.
So I'll talk to the colleagues first. They taught me, they gave me space to do something that I didn't know I was allowed to do for a long time, which was be human. As like the only black man in 90% of my academic settings, it was very lonely. And there were not people in positions of power that were well equipped to support me in the ways that I needed to be supported, which was like, there was a lot of racism.
Yeah.
Just a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I grew up in the suburbs, but it's still Virginia.
Yeah.
It's still the South.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
racism is real. And so I felt like, as all black people do when they try to do anything beyond the generation before them, I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like I couldn't make any mistakes. I felt like no matter what, I had to work 1,000 times harder than my colleagues, my peers.
Yeah.
And finally, I got to a point where I had the degree, and my mom's just died, and I'm in this postdoctoral fellowship, which means they're all calling me doctor because I am now officially doctor, but I got one more year. I got to get more hours and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Why are you trying to work so hard?" And I was like, "Because if I don't, you'll fire me." Because I already know I'm a diversity hire. And they're like, "Well, you're not." I was like, "That's cool. What do you mean?" And they're like, "No, but genuinely, you're not. Look at this list of people. It's a lot of people of color." I was like, "Oh, damn, you guys are actually a diverse program, aren't you?" Yeah. Also, your mom died. you're a human. I said, I know, but I'm not going to let you say that I'm using this as an excuse. They're like, it happened last week. It took me a while to like let that sink in, but that was where I gave myself compassion because I was like, if they're telling me, and they're all professionals and they're all licensed, they all know what they're saying, that it's okay for me to not be okay. Let me not be okay and see what that's like.
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but like it was helpful. And then my clients, they would end sessions with like, "How did you do that?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "I got what I needed. Are you okay?"
Yeah.
I mean, in principle, I'm fine. Like, that's my response. They're like, yeah, but you know I would wait. And that was the moment where I was like, I got to give myself some grace.
You do.
Because my clients literally were looking like one after the other. Like, I will wait for you to be okay because I want to work with you. Then finally, the straw that broke the camel's back was a client had his father figure was dying of pancreatic cancer. And it was only 5 months after my mom had died. And I started crying. And he was like, I knew it when I told you that this was going to happen. And I actually only told you so that I could tell you, go take a break. Because I knew that this was going to be too much for you. And if I know it, so do your bosses. My boss, I text my boss and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, this is what happened. They're like, yeah, we talked about it. I'm going to handle that case for the rest of the school year. I said, oh. So they had all talked around me about like, we already know what's coming. He's going to want to try to do this. We can't help him. We have to force him to do this. And in that moment, if people were planning for me to be stubborn, that meant I had a lot more room to consider myself than I'd ever experienced before.
So let me ask you a question to piggyback off that. I mean, because most people don't feel like all of what you just described to me, that's a real team.
Yeah, I was lucky.
That's real people
blessed.
paying attention and watching, man. Like, did you feel seen and heard?
Yeah, honestly, for the first time as a professional, with unequivocally yes.
Yeah.
And my boss was a or I guess she is a Japanese American. So my boss at the time is a Japanese American, who was crazy insightful, crazy empathic, and but firm. Like in a way that she didn't remind me of my mom, but she filled a particular gap of like, I respect strong women who know their stuff in ways that I only could have because of the mom I had. And she gave that to me, but also was like, and by the way, did you know you're really good at this? I was like, I think I am. She's like, well, in case anybody hasn't told you, you're really good at this. If you like a job here, you can have one when you're done. I said, we're 3 months in. Yeah, but look at what you've done.
Yeah.
I was blessed. I know most people don't get those kinds of teams. It's why I'm trying to be a part of building the team at Morehouse Counseling Center. To be like some of those experiences, because I don't know, that's reparative for people.
I definitely think you're definitely a great addition to what y'all have going on over there, brother. You've been through a lot, and I do understand that people that been through the fire are the best people to be able to help other people on their journey. You know what I'm saying? Not wishing bad on people, but
I know what you mean.
But sometimes we have to experience bad to know what good feel like.
I say that to people all the time,
Yeah.
and they don't get what I'm trying to say. Is evolutionarily, we're supposed to pay attention to bad things more because it keeps us safe.
For sure.
The trick is to remind yourself that those also are the things that tell us that really good thing, it's this big. Celebrate it.
For sure.
I made it here safely.
Thank
God. Yeah, like
you gotta thank him.
I went to the wrong building. Did I have an attitude? No. Why? Because I was invited to do a podcast to talk about something that I love.
Yeah.
As long as you let me speak, I'm
Listen,
all right.
that's what it's about. We have to celebrate those small wins.
And too many people don't.
They don't.
They're so upset about it.
We take life for granted. You know, I don't take life for granted, man.
It's short.
We just spoke about it.
Yeah. My mom was 62 years old.
My mom's 49, bro. I'm 43.
That's young.
So think about the thoughts that you have.
As you're approaching, my wife lost her mother at age 6. The interesting thing is there's no way, like, she's past her mom's age, like 70 years ago.
Yeah.
it's our son. She's like, am I going to be here when he's 6? Yeah.
It's scary, bro.
Those dates, those
People
ages.
don't understand that, dog. What you just said and described, bro, people don't understand that. And see, it's an island that you feel like you're on. Like when you're going through these situations. Nobody, if you haven't experienced a mother's death, you can't have a conversation with me about that.
I mean, we could talk about it, but it
Not
would,
really.
it would be like me, like sitting with you and being like, yeah, that sounds really challenging. It would be a lot of stuff of like, that sounds like I imagine.
That's why we
this,
can't
you know
talk
what I
about
mean,
it.
right? But that's the conversation some people want to have.
That's why some people don't, that's why most people don't talk. Bro, just think about now, right? You expressed to me off camera that you said some, you know,
Some things that just I wasn't.
you weren't prepared to say.
Yeah.
You know why? Because you're comfortable with speaking to me because I experienced the same thing that you have.
You know.
That's what opens the door for us, bro. Without that,
Yeah.
you would have never said nothing. You wouldn't have
Not
went that
way.
deep.
Not yet. I wouldn't have shared the way I shared because
But think
I
about
wasn't
how.
prepared to do
But think about how healing, how much of a healing process that is.
I know. I went to the bathroom. I cried. I smiled, and then I walked back in.
You see what I'm saying? Shit. You left out. I said it to myself because, bro, you triggered something, and man, to be able to express that loss of our mothers to each other, like this is our first interaction with each other. But we're comfortable because number one, we're professional. You understand I'm a therapist and you're a therapist, right? We professionally we know how to approach these situations and receive the information.
But as people, as men, it's still weird because like the thing you just said about we just met today. It is interesting because it's like 20 years ago, no way that I would have been anyone would have respected me after I said, yeah, I just went to the bathroom, I cried,
Exactly.
I smiled, I came back in.
Exactly.
You're right. Because of our I'm gonna say parallel experiences, because I don't like calling them shared because I feel like somehow that's like how people unintentionally trauma bond.
For sure.
Right? When they're actually having a good connection.
For sure.
Because of our parallel experiences, I can trust that no matter how I describe my experience of loss, you'll appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Understanding was already a given.
Absolutely.
But appreciation of my experience and my appreciation of yours is what makes it safe to talk about it. And the point that you made as well is I think that's why, the other reason why I transitioned to working with adolescents and young adults and then made my way to working at one of the most prestigious HBCUs in Morehouse, right, is that I feel like God blessed me with 5 different lives, essentially, right?
Yeah.
36 years old. I feel like I've been through 5 different phases, and in all those phases, I was me, but I wasn't.
Right.
But I learned a lot. I had a lot of losses, a lot of wins. And then I sit with these young men, and they're surprised at my age. I know I don't look 27. The gray hairs are very obvious. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I got a haircut recently, and they're still poking out. I know I look my age, but I relate to them in ways that I feel like are fundamental to them being able to get their healing because they need a sense of kinship in order to share like we just shared.
Yep.
But they don't get that from me, so I got to give it to them in so many other ways as a therapist.
So let's talk about tools for resilience, right? Some of the techniques that you talked about was progressive muscle relaxation and guided imagery to manage your stress and find calm. Talk to me about that, because there's a lot of people that could benefit from it but don't know what it is.
So progressive muscle relaxation, I'll start with that because it's the simplest. All it is essentially you're in sequence, flexing, and then, so tensing, that's the word I'm looking for. Tensing and then releasing certain muscle groups, and you do that in line with your deep breathing. I typically will breathe in for 4 seconds, hold or pause at the very top of that breath, and then breathe out for 4 seconds, hold or pause at the bottom of the breath, and keep going. And I always start with my hands. I'm not really sure why. Because I think a lot of things, like you'll read say start with your arms or start with your shoulders or something like that, but I start with my hands, and I slowly build up to my wrists, then elbows, and all that kind of stuff. And the reason why I think this is helpful is it is so procedural.
Yeah.
Right? It's so linear.
Yeah.
And your job is just to focus on your body. And the other piece is that this can help us to identify places where we have additional stress, and then allow us to actually do light stretching
Yeah.
and releasing to bring relaxation to those spaces.
For sure.
People don't realize that when we're stressed out, we cannot always control the thing that is stressing us out. We cannot always control the thing that's making us grieve. We cannot control the thing that is causing us adversity. But what I can control is what my body is doing in this moment. Because even though I'm going to feel the stress, even though I'm going to have all the cortisol and all that kind of stuff going on in my body, I can start to like actually move that out, because that's what the stretching, the tensing, and releasing does, right? So that's number one for me. I love being active, but this is something you can do sitting in a seat. I've done it on planes. I've done it, let's say planes, trains, and automobiles. But like real talk, that's what it's been.
Yeah.
And so that's why that's my first thing. Now visualization. The shortest way I can describe is I think that people do not appreciate what their imagination can do for them, and what the value of engaging your imagination has on your psyche. And that is especially important for Black men. You might agree with me on this, you might not, but I genuinely think that we are the group of people who are taught least to use their imagination. In fact, we're taught to imagine within very specific lines, which is why we have this idea of when we're younger, it's this type of this is how you be Black and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Like this is how you be a man and so on and so
Right.
forth. These are the jobs that you can or should aspire for, and anything else is weird or outside of the bounds.
Right.
Those are limits.
Yeah.
And so my hope is to help people understand that if we grow our imagination, we are able to create internal worlds for ourselves that while we just briefly step into them, that gives us the respite that we need. It doesn't take us from reality. I'm not trying to tell people that they need to be in VR and all that kind of stuff. We do this in our minds. And so one of my favorite things to do is to help people to develop the imagery of their own private garden, their own private space out in the world. It's walking down a path, acknowledging everything that they see, feel, smell, hear. I feel like there's one other sentence I just missed. But nonetheless, that they are going through and they're just kind of creating this in their mind. And you help them develop the level of detail so that when they go back, it's like they're going back and they're just adding, right? They're creating space, and you can go there whenever you need to just have a quiet moment.
Yep.
It works for athletes. When I was an athlete, I would visualize everything I was going to do on that field before I did it. Did it all come to pass? But I felt good and prepared.
Yes, for sure.
So there you go. That's why those are the takeaways that I talk on the most.
Yeah, I mean, but that's good, man. Imagination is important. Ultimately, it's what you can flip that dream into a goal, apply an objective, and action steps in a timeline, right? A deadline, a target date to accomplish that dream, which will ultimately be a goal.
Yeah, that's
Right.
why my dissertation in a nutshell is what you just said.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's a stress reduction model. Literally, it's a exploration, insight, action. You got to explore what the problem is, develop insight into how to resolve the problem, and then set action steps 1 to 2, especially for athletics, 1 to 2 that you can track across just a week.
Yeah.
And each week, if you achieve the thing, create a new action step.
Yeah.
And the greatest thing is you do this in sports.
Yep.
Kids and parents stop asking, what do I need to do to get better? Did you follow the plan?
That's it. Small steps. Small steps. That's what I focus on. Small 7-day goals.
Yeah. We're not appreciated for the work that goes into getting there anymore, and so folks keep just trying to find ways to skip the process, which is unfortunate, but it makes sense.
Yeah. You say success starts with defining it for yourself. You encourage the audience to give themselves grace to grow and learn from their mistakes. From your own words, that was your own words, but
I know, but and I think the thing is, I don't know if I came up with this or if I heard it from somebody, so I'm not going to take credit for it like it is just mine. But I say this often because I say it to myself all the time. I say it often to clients. The difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful person is that a successful person defines for themselves what it means to succeed, whereas an unsuccessful person allows everyone else to define what it means to succeed.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is, it took me 8 years to get my doctorate. So 4 years plus 1 year of internship is what it's supposed to be. It took me 8. Clearly, I had some challenges, right? And so in that moment, I had to redefine what success was, right? Because success was I didn't get kicked out of this program. I had some big health issues. I lost 40 pounds in 4 years. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that went on, a whole bunch of racism, all this kind of stuff compounded, wasn't eating, food stamps, all the stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And in my adult life, so that's where like a trigger, right? And so at a certain point, I was like, for me, success is I'm going to graduate with my doctorate. I'm going to have a career as a psychologist, and I'm going to be really effective. The timeline had to change, right? And so I had to define that for myself. So other people are like, oh, you really, like, does it feel like you took too long or anything like that? No, it took me as long as it took me.
Right.
But try and take away my doctorate.
Yeah. Can't.
No. I'm going to be Dr. Proctor till the day I die.
For sure.
Right? And so I've defined that the success that I wanted was on my time. Right? It was based on the things that I had to go through. And I think that a lot of folks will say that to themselves, but then when the first hurdle comes, they're like, yeah, but they're going to think of me like this. They're not going to see me as good or good enough. And
who care about that?
And so that is what I try to empower my clients to understand. I'm like, you could spend, remember, former people pleaser or current people pleaser, recovering. You can accept that other people have these expectations for you. But if you don't identify what your own expectations are for yourself and what your actual limitations are, you're going to be beholden to them. And so it's always going to be, but they want, but they think, but they that.
Right.
No, it's how does what you're doing align with what matters most to you?
For sure.
And this goal that you're trying to achieve. And I think that the most successful people are also kind of single-minded. Like my goal is to one day be the director of counseling at Morehouse College. I've told 100 people, I'll tell 1,000 more. I don't really care. Because no one's going to stop me unless my boss just doesn't ever leave. In which case, cool, I'll keep working for you because I like you, right? But like, that's my goal. And I don't hide it.
Yeah.
Success will be will be all the things that I'm doing to prepare myself for whenever the opportunity arrives. And if it doesn't, I'll still be a success because I'm pretty sure I helped build a really effective functional counseling center.
Exactly. Listen, man, that's
the grace part.
I love it. All right. Practice make permanent, not perfect. A reminder to focus on consistent growth rather than unattainable ideals. Talk about that.
So this comes from sports, and for like with so many athletes I coached, and even myself, they were trying to be perfect all the time. And then I realized like 7 years ago, I think it was, maybe 6. I was watching a soccer tournament. Leo Messi, to me, the greatest player to ever play the game. I've watched old film of some of the greats, and they are all phenomenal. I couldn't stand with them, but he's just different. And I think it was the Copa America, and he missed a penalty kick. And you got to understand something. He's so good that like he does things that make people confused because how physically did the ball do the thing that you made it do?
Yeah.
But he scuffed his shot, like kicked into the ground and like rolled it to the keeper. This is the best person to ever play this game.
Yeah.
That is the definition of not perfect.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was like, I'm never teaching perfection to anybody again because I thought God had told him, you're going to be perfect at soccer. No, God said you're just going to be the best that's ever existed in this game. And so I stopped teaching my players and I stopped teaching my clients to strive for perfection because if you were permanently proficient in something, people will want what you have to offer. I'm not a perfect therapist. I'm a good enough therapist. Good enough is simple. I did a good enough job that either you will return, you feel like you got what you needed out of each session or just the therapeutic process as a whole because some sessions we get stuck and that's just what it is. And 2, for good enough, because it's only 2 things, that if and when you need therapy or need support, mental health support in the future, I did a good enough job that you see it's valuable and you'll go get it.
Yep.
That's permanent proficiency.
Yep.
Perfection is a myth. Name me something perfect.
Nothing. Not a thing.
Only one human ever in history, as far as I'm aware, Jesus Christ was perfect.
Right.
But we didn't hear anything about him as a teenager, because I bet you, not so perfect, because teenagers are teenagers.
Exactly.
So I say all that to say, that is what I mean by it. I help my clients strive for being content with the fact that if you are consistent, when you hit that roadblock, you will have so much history of consistency that no matter the challenge, you don't have to push through it. You can go around it, you can go over it, you can go through it, you can go under it, or you can sit there and work it because it might be a really important thing that you have to do.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so actionable steps. What are 3 small changes listeners can make today to practice resilience and self-compassion?
Number 1, every day, ask yourself what you're thankful for or what you're grateful for. Whichever version of that question you want to ask yourself that question. The reason being is we don't spend enough time appreciating the simple fact that we walked out the door, did our best, and got home and are alive and hopefully, God willing, have food to eat and like clothes to put on our backs, right? Yep. Everyone should be able to identify one thing that they are grateful for every day. And this is what helps you with resilience, because you start to build up a catalog in your brain of things you're grateful for. They may be tiny, but everybody knows this. Small things, when you add them together, create massive things.
For sure.
Right? It's how planets form and all that kind of stuff, how the universe comes together. So it's that little grain of like gratitude for yourself or appreciation for something. That is step 1. Step 2, talk to people that matter. At least once a day. Talk to somebody that matters to you.
Yep.
And like talk. Don't ask them how they're doing and hope that they're just going to say okay and you can move on.
Right.
Ask them how they're doing. Hope they give you a real answer so that you can share it with them. Yep. The reason being, you create connection. Connection helps with resiliency, because if you're not alone, you feel like there are options, right? And then number 3, finding your spiritual center.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is I don't want to impose my Christianity on any of the listeners.
Right.
But I'm going to use Christianity as my way of speaking. That's why I'm framing it as find your spiritual center. I don't pray every day by reading the Bible. I don't pray every day by getting on my knees, but I talk to God every day. Sometimes it's just to be like, bruh, why is today hard? Like, I woke up feeling great, and you hit me with this, and I'm just like, I thought this was like a day off. Cool, man. Like, but we're having that conversation. Like, right. I have my center of like, I know that this isn't for nothing. I just also know that I don't know what it's for.
Right.
So I just got to work the process and see what comes of it. And so that's my spiritual center, is having that conversation. I talk to God, at least my best friend, which annoys some people, but like,
hey, let it annoy.
Yeah, that's what he says. Like, my relationship is mine, yours is yours.
Right.
He could be everybody's best friend technically, so it's not a big deal. But in doing that, it allows me, it actually opens up conversations that I end up wanting to have with my friends and my family. So I'll talk to him and realize he don't talk back the way that I need right now, so then I call my best friend. And so I feel like that's how I find my center, is that I talk to God. If I don't get what I feel like I need, usually it's because he put somebody in my life or put something in my life to give me the thing that I was looking for.
For sure.
Those are the 3.
Okay.
This is the message that I would actually like to leave people with. Historically, Black people have done this thing of suffering in silence.
Yes.
We have also done this thing, and this comes directly from slavery, of when you're feeling good about yourself, what's the most common thing that like your sister, auntie, somebody like that says to you? Oh, you and your little thing, you feeling real good about you, right? It's belittling, it's demeaning, right? Yeah. Oh, you just achieved something great. And it's like, oh, that's great. So what next, right? Yeah. And it's this thing that comes from slavery where we weren't allowed to be great and we weren't allowed to be awful. We just all had to be mediocre in the middle, and that was how we kept our families together.
Right.
So there's this issue with humility. There's this issue with opening up and vulnerability. And so I guess my hope is that Black folks start to recognize that the numbers at Morehouse are indicative of what's happening in our community as a whole, which is there is a shift towards communicating about our mental health, towards actively seeking out support. Yes. And we need to do more as a whole community, our institutions, our community leaders, our family members and stuff like that, of having conversations around mental health is crazy complicated. Yeah. But it is not something that we just have to suffer with by ourselves and just stuff it away, because that is what maintains so many of our generational curses and so many things that they stereotype us on, even though the numbers show that we're not those stereotypes anymore. Yeah. We've got to grow our ability to be vulnerable with each other, like we did today.
For sure. Man, brother, I appreciate you.
Of course.
All right, so how can the listeners locate you? How can they find you on social media?
So I do have LinkedIn, and so I am listed there as W. Alex Proctor, PsyD. So I have a doctorate of psychology versus a PhD, which is a doctor of philosophy with a specialty in psychology. And so you can find me on there. It shows me as Morehouse, associated with Morehouse College as the interim associate director.
Remember, knowledge is power, but shared knowledge is more powerful. No matter what life throws at you, keep your feet moving, focus on the solution, and let success be the goal. This is Resilient Minds, and we are here to give you insight, positive mental health strategies, and personal growth strategy. Dr. Alex Proctor, I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you for having me, Coty. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
it. That won't keep the love there for the job.
Nah, that's burnout, for sure. How many students are at Morehouse?
2,300
23. How many therapists?
full time, 3.
What?